Welcome, everybody. Wow, what an amazing crowd. I'm so happy to see you. Did you know that there is 515 of you registered for this event? We are thrilled. I'm Agnia, I'm from Visit Estonia, but before we start with our journey around our country, let's have a quick look to the place where we are currently located.
Hi, my name is Kristiina, and this place here is Proto Invention Factory. This is a very unconventional location because imagine driving the world's first car or the hot air balloon. These historical inventions are for you to try here. It is a must-go for families, and I've heard that elderly men are really keen to try these things out here. But now let's go to the big studio where Destination Estonia Onlive is going to take place. Hi.
Hi.
Hello, everyone.
So
I am Kristiina.
And I'm Agnia, and usually we are the one who come to your countries to talk about Estonia. But now the situation is a little different, so we are happy to welcome you here in Tallinn.
Great. So let's go over some house rules before we start. So your audio or your microphones will be switched off, but you will be able to insert your questions via our chat. And
the questions are divided into sections. So as soon as something pops to your mind, just put it in the chat and we will answer throughout the whole presentation. Of course, everything will be recorded and you can share it with your friends and colleagues later for the ones who wasn't able to attend. And it's so great that we can see you. Can you see us? Amazing.
And one more thing about those brave ones who have switched on their cameras. There is also a photo spot for us here in the middle. We will signal you and we can make a group photo if you don't mind.
All right, so when you registered, we asked you, what do you think about Estonia? What's the first thing that pops to your mind? And that's what you answered. So I can see here bears, beauty, blondes, and onions. Well, all pretty much true, but definitely so much more else that we would like to introduce to you today.
And this is so Estonia in a nutshell, a small country that is only a bit bigger than the Netherlands or Denmark. It's only 1.3 million people, meaning that we have still a lot of space for ourselves. We master a really impossible language, which is still our own. It is called Estonian. And we've been ruled by the Danes, by the Swedes, by the Germans, by the Russians. So it has been a desirable destination throughout the history.
But if it's not tourism that we are famous for, then definitely it's being a digital society. 99% of public services available to Estonian citizens are online, which saves us a lot of time. And let's be honest, a lot of paper and trees as well. We are able to do our taxes in 3 minutes, and actually being able to have this e-school system, which we also shared with other countries, helped our children to stay on top of things during the corona time. We are also invented e-residency to increase the number of people living here, and by November 2019 we had over 10,000 businesses established online. So hope much more to come. But let's see how we are connected.
Estonia's gateway is naturally Tallinn, the capital, and we have a very cozy airport, which has been awarded several times for being comfortable, for being cute. But it was such a pity that it wasn't used for a couple of months, that Corona ruled us. But as of 8th of June, there is already 12 direct flights from and to Tallinn, but not only to Europe, but also you can take a flight from Tallinn to one of our islands, the biggest ones, Hiiumaa and Saaremaa. And we are very happy that our Ferry connection to Helsinki has been restored. Stockholm still has to wait a little, but I'm sure it will come. And this slide here is something of a necessity. Probably you're all curious how you can approach us, if at all. It's stable here at this point. Emergency states ended already 18th of May. And the borders started to open at first to the neighbors, but then, well, you all probably heard about the Baltic bubble, but then the circle got bigger and bigger. And here you can see the list of countries that without quarantine, we have opened our borders to. And if there is some of you who can't find your country on that list, so not to worry, any day now. And just wanted to add also that Foreign Ministry updates the restrictions and the lists of those countries each Friday. And also Visit Estonia tourism professional sites updates it. So both of these links will be shared with you after the presentation.
All right. I just wanted to say hi to those who just joined us, because I can see the number is growing steadily. Thank you, guys. So just quick facts which are useful when you are traveling to Estonia. It is safe, but it is advised to keep 2+2 rule. Whenever to wear a mask or no, it's up to you. It depends on how you feel. Masks are widely available in all of the pharmacies in Estonia. Medical care in Estonia is on a very high level, and during Corona time, actually our ICU units never exceeded the capacity. So we are very blessed to have this support system. There is no specific ban for traveling as a group, but just make sure and double check with the specific place, hotel and the museum where you're going. Public events are starting slowly to appear again, more to follow from 1st of July. And of course, restaurants, outside terraces, attractions are open, and life is moving towards being normal again. But let's start our trip. We always talk about culture, and culture is not something that we display for the people who don't know us, or something that happened a long time ago. This is a part of our everyday life. We are very proud of it. We actually incorporate it into our everyday life, in our food, in our clothing, in our design. So culture is here and is waiting for you to discover it. A major cultural event, which you probably heard of, is a song festival. It happens every 5 years, and it's an amazing spectacle that includes over 30,000 people singing as one choir on the stage. And even if you don't speak the language, you will feel the magnificent feeling of it. The Song and Dance Festival grounds are located on the green hill overlooking the Bay of Tallinn, an amazing city silhouette. So stay tuned on the specific date for the next one and come and enjoy.
This slide is a traditional one. Also, so is the content. For obvious reasons, those are the places that are loved by honeymooners and wedding organizers. But this is, these places are usually in a very naturally beautiful surroundings, and they are scattered all over Estonia. And their heritage is from different times, but mainly from German Baltic. And if you like to feel like an aristocrat, just go and wine and dine, let yourself be pampered. There's something for a different taste. It's for something simpler, something more luxurious, and always worth a try for a bit of a dive in a history. And this shows one of the features that UNESCO has recognized in Estonia. This is called Kihnu Island traditional lifestyle. So not only do they drive in daily life around in these things like on the photo, but they also wear their traditional clothes daily. And this is something you can go and witness as a visitor easily. It is worth a day trip, and it's available by ferry. So really a dive again into our cultural 600 years of cultural heritage. And one thing about the clothing is that when a woman wears her apron, it means she's married, but when she doesn't, it means that she is yet to be chosen.
kind of like a Facebook relationship
Offline
status.
status, yeah.
Yeah, let's continue with UNESCO. Seto Lelo choir singing is also an amazing experience that has been kept alive for a long time. Setos is a kingdom that's located so-called between two worlds, and they managed to keep their tradition and to give it forward to the younger generations. It is actually easily combinable with city of Tartu when you're visiting south of Estonia. And this photo here was actually taken by photographer Jimmy Nelson. And Jimmy Nelson is famous for traveling around the world and capturing the small minorities that are still living in a traditional way. It caught his eyes, and we are very proud of it. So when you are visiting them, make sure to try their pastries and pies, and just try and imagine this life many years ago. But you don't have to only hear the setos or visit them. You can also try something unique called smoke sauna. Of course, this is an experience for more advanced travelers or more adventurous ones. In theory, you would need 3 hours to do the ritual properly, and they say that actually you come out of the smoked sauna even dirtier when you went in, but it's only because the smoke stays inside. And of course, the amazing smell of fresh birches and herbs gathered from around will leave you rejuvenated. Usually combined with taking a dip in the pond or lake next to it. So if you have time to spare, definitely try it.
But if you don't have the time to spare, this is a tip for those who have just perhaps a weekend and don't have any extra days for dipping into Estonian culture. So here's 15 minutes away located open-air museum with sturdy old farmhouses to show, and on weekends also traditional dances. And you can take part in also in handicraft workshops to try yourself. Or another option would be in Tartu, which is the university town, to really grasp the essence of being an Estonian, or what the history has done to Estonians in a very cool, modern surrounding, because this museum here, in ERM in short, has been also recognized because of its architecture. And we've come to the first break, so to say, our photo point. So this is the time when now you have to put on your camera face and say hernesupp, which is a pea soup, and it means that make you make a camera face, basically.
So make yourself ready. We will walk to the screen, so we are standing next to you, and let's have this photo.
And we can share it with you afterwards.
So just smile and wave.
Smile and wave. We'll make it quick.
All right, don't you worry. Everybody who had their camera on will have their picture captured, and we will send it to you, so you can share if you like. All right, but let's now move to the tastier part of presentation. Unfortunately, you're not able to taste it, but I hope the experiences that we are going to introduce will almost leave this amazing taste of Estonian culinary experience. And there are many different experiences, and we all know food is important. But what most of you don't know is that Estonia's food is paradise. Being naturally organic by itself, having all of the different gifts from the nature, and which makes Estonia really delicious. So one experience that is worth trying is definitely gastronomy farm restaurants, usually owned by a chef. The premises is converted in the cozy restaurant, and he's using local produce that he gathers from farms around him and prepares several course dinner or lunch, pairing it with amazing wines, and also tells his story, the story of a local, the story of Estonian, and the story of Estonian cuisine.
So we've mentioned, and also you mentioned in your form when you filled it, that you associate us with nature. So why don't you use the abundant greenery that we have and the fresh air that we have and make it your own exclusive restaurant, for example. So why not take make a family outing, for example, in the Bog and make a picnic, or arrange for a small group a fine dining event right in the Bog. But my personal tip would be that you earn it first over the light hike and then enjoy the clicking of the wine glasses right in the forest.
But of course, Estonia is not only farm restaurants and the picnics and the wilderness, it's also very high level, internationally acknowledged gastronomy scene. And experiences called chef table can be experienced throughout the country. It's usually for the smaller company who really can appreciate the sophisticated taste, the concept behind the food, again, the wine pairing and all, which is represents Estonian cuisine as being the cuisine of Nordic islands. Some of them are in amazing old town mansions overlooking the city, and the chef, of course, also tells his story. It is so amazing that a prestigious event called Baku's Door, which is a chef's Olympics, so to say, takes place for the semifinals in different countries. And drum roll, you guessed it right, it's going to be in October in Tallinn. So that's a huge acknowledgement from the Gastronomy Society to the thing that Estonian chefs and food enthusiasts have accomplished. But our colleague, who is also here with us, actually wants to show you one unique place in Tallinn. So let's have a look.
Estonia's geographical location on ancient trade routes has played a major role in our story. Not only turning the coastline into a cultural melting pot, but also introducing us to culinary delights from east, south, north and west. But as we are a sturdy nation, we have kept the knowledge in our hearts how to use the forest and the meadows as our garden and fields, and if needed, also pharmacy. New Nordic food revolution, a decade and a half ago, has once again encouraged us to put on the table what we have always eaten. That's wild herbs, lush berries, forest mushrooms. And here, not to worry, we do know the magic ones, but we're not serving them, at least not in restaurants. And an exclamation mark. Our nature and food has been acknowledged as one of the top 3 cleanest in the whole wide world. All of it you can find as artfully plated mouthfuls in dozens and dozens of chic restaurants all over Tallinn and in Estonia. That's all thanks to a new generation of chefs who are combining the traditional with the new wave of the world. It's an ode to pure, fresh and seasonal food. Estonian restaurants are bold and feisty. It's not only about food as products. It's a whole concept that goes around cutlery, tableware, the ambience of Nordic islands. But enough about words. I do suggest once you come to Tallinn, come and find your own secret spots, like this one here. Restaurant Noa, where Tallinners just love to come and enjoy the view and lovely pink sunsets.
Yeah, Noa is great. But Kristiina, what's your favorite restaurant?
It is not in Tallinn. It's called Pastoraat. It's in Pärnu, in the resort town, a very small place, but their chocolate cake is a killer. And yours?
Well, actually, mine is also not in the capital, but it's conveniently located on the road from Tallinn to Tartu, and actually splits the journey in 2 smaller parts. It's called Põhjaka Manor. Again, this is something that locals created, kept alive, and the food is delicious. And they buckthorn, the schnapps is also something worth trying for. So look for it.
We've come to the question part again.
Yeah, so we have a couple of questions here, and Andreas here asking, hi Andreas, I hope you're enjoying the presentation. How do I travel from Tallinn to any of those countryside places?
There is a bus connection, there is train connection, there is rental car, but it could be better connected but still there are many small towns which again are easily arrived by bus, and from there you can take different tours.
Yeah, and we are talking really comfortable buses with Wi-Fi on board and sometimes even hot drinks, so the journey is really, really fast. We also have a quick question maybe to answer. What can you do in Estonian winter? Oh, there's plenty of activities, but bear with us. We will cover some further in our presentation, and I hope you find your favorite from there.
But now, so planning a great escape from the mainland, who doesn't like great escapes, right? But Estonia is so small that the escape is not exactly that big, but still has a different feeling from the mainland. So we have in total 2,222 islands, which is very difficult to pronounce.
That is true.
But it's true, and just recently one of them came on sale. So if anyone's interested among the ones who's listening, so here's a chance. The biggest island would be Saaremaa, and the picture is not in the Netherlands, it's still Saaremaa, famous for its windmills, but also a big castle in the small capital. But still, the best would be to stress bust there and being pampered in their wellness hotels.
Another amazing island is called Muhu Island, around 2.5 hours driving from the capital. The people who live on the island, they truly know. And sometimes Muhu Island is also called a simple luxury island or five-star island. And one of the reasons is because it offers this affordable luxury experience. Like this place here, Padasta Manor. It's actually a five-star hotel, belongs to the small luxury hotels of the world. You have your best restaurant there, spa on the premises, terrace with a grill, and all of the quietness and secludedness of one place that you can wish to enjoy. But the special thing that I encourage you to try is a barrel sauna. Basically, it's located on the coast where you're overlooking the bay with no one else inside, and you can share your secrets. But there is a neatly hidden call button for the service right there if you need a refill for your champagne glass.
This is an island example of Estonian local summer escape. Hiiumaa you can take on by ferry or, as mentioned, by a plane. But Estonians love their summer cottages, and Hiiumaa is one of the favorite places where the Tallinners escape to, which makes it a good ground also for lovely seasonal restaurants. And to observe the capital people in their natural habitat would be one of the things to do there. And the other being, for example, a lighthouse trail. It's not exactly a trail, but it's there are several lighthouses from different eras, and this is like a hike or a trip on its own to check them out. And also there's a bundle of islands also near Tallinn, so it doesn't need too big of a hassle to check out island life. And first of them, for example, is Agnia, which means that you buy a tram ticket, the same ticket that you ride a tram in the Tallinn city center, and you use it for going to this island. Or Prangli, which is good for seal watching tours. Those little guys are waiting for you on a boat trip away. And Naissaar hosts a nice classical music festival that you can go to by an exclusive boat and brought back in the evening as well. And of course, there are other means of transport that you can take to the islands, for example, kayaking. It's not, of course, for the faint of heart, but still very doable.
And here, I guess, is one of the great examples of what can be done in the winter time. So this here is Ice Road, which is actually not a touristic attraction, but it's something which is made to make locals' life easier. Mainland is connected by Ice Road to the islands. And you have to keep in mind, though, when you're driving Ice Road, you are not allowed to wear a seatbelt. But it's truly amazing experience. So keep an eye on our weather. When the snow is and it's cold enough, then the official ice roads are open. We have been talking quite a lot about outdoors, about our nature, about our islands, but this is something that we cherish a lot. And during the time of Corona crisis, it offered us solace. It actually kept our spirit alive. And we've seen much more people in nature than we used to seeing in the shopping malls. So even if you are not that much into nature, I'm positive that after you heard this Estonian presentation, you will want to try at least a little bit.
Especially this one. This is one of our 600 bears, and why I show it to you is that it's because you can go and check them out really close up. You just take up contact with the local nature tour company, and they will bring you to a bear watching hut that is specially made for it. Of course, it takes patience, but it's not only yawning and waiting, because once they appear, it's not only a perfect Instagram photo, but also exhilarating experience. You will not forget it. And a bonus is that you can actually spot other bigger animals as well on the way before the bear arrives. And it's best to do it in May and September. And that slide, I hope that the urban people that are listening are not put off by the fact that it's a hiker's paradise. It's really friendly to beginners too. The hiking trails go up and down and round Estonia, so you choose either coastal or through a forest. It's all yours. Very easy to make these types of wooden trails pass it. And on this photo here, it's taken in Sooma National Park. This is something called the fifth season. I don't know if you managed to think when could it be, but just the hint is that when the snow melts. So when it does, in some places it floods the forest, and you can only, well, it's not for the show, it's how the local people need to live. They have to be used to that. So you can only imagine how, for example, they drop their kids off at school like this. So basically you just canoe around in the forest.
Oh, the famous bogs. You know, Estonians talk a lot about bogs. But there's a reason for that, because normally they're not easily accessible. But since they're mesmerizing, we actually been quite creative to make it available for the visitors. They're located throughout the country. But actually, I think by now Inger has made it to one of those. Insider tip. Yeah, insider tip for the ladies especially, the bog lakes are full of minerals. So if you take a dip there, you will definitely feel rejuvenated.
Oh yeah, so Inger?
This closeness to nature is so deeply rooted in us that we can almost hear when the wilderness, the big wilderness, just calls us. So we know automatically when the big snow melting starts. And we can come here, and now you see these bog lakes. They're rather small because it's already mid-June, but early in the spring and very late winter, you can go through these passageways on little canoes, and then, you know, we get a second call when the first spring flowers get in bloom, and then summertime, soon to be, we hope, you can actually go swimming in this little swamp and bog lakes. And in the autumn, when everything turns golden, the white silence comes and falls upon us. So you can just come here and listen to the silence and stillness, or you can put on your snowshoes, or even skate and go skating on the waterways that is created between it. And the really, really cool fact about this utmost wilderness is that you do not need any special equipment. Just comfy shoes, clothing according to the temperatures, and that's about it. And good mood, of course, because our tourism offices and forest governance, we have created, as you can see, these wonderful pathways, so you can get throughout all of it with your dry feet and dry socks.
We've come again to one of the questions we could take, and actually, I see a long list here, but I hope you don't mind that I take the shortest one. And it's actually in the topic of the cities, but is there some craft beer festivals? So yes, is the answer.
And you also asked if there are spa towns in Estonia. Oh, yes, and yes. And is island hopping possible? Absolutely. But let's continue. And actually, we have come to our topic, which I think makes Estonia the perfect for this specific one. And it's a city break holiday. Urban beat or small town blues, you name it, we have it. Only a short plane ride away. Well, maybe for some of you a little longer one, but still very easily accessible. Let's have a quick tour then of the cities.
So Haapsalu, this is a sleepy small town with slow living, a resort life, historically being famous for mud treatments. But don't be put off by all its sleepiness, because being away only a bit more than an hour from Tallinn, it means that there is several ways you can spend a really fun weekend also there. They have cute wooden houses, but of course big, not so cute castle with a very great renewed museum. But what I actually wanted to point out is that they also host a number of quirky festivals. For example, one for old American cars, and one for Italian wine and music, one for horror movies, and so on. So there is plenty to do. And another one, this is our second biggest city in Estonia, called Tartu. And the Tallinners think that Tartu has their own ghost, because the vibe, the atmosphere in Tartu is very different from the capital. It is because they are the home to a very old university. So it makes them really scientific, really creative, really a good place for startups. And you can feel this student vibe all over Tartu in those hangouts, either by the river or just in their old town. And also important is that this cute town won European Capital of Culture title for 2024.
And now about Pärnu. Pärnu is our summer capital, the place to be, especially now, especially during the white nights. It's actually the largest resort town. You find numerous hotels and amazing spas in them. And when we are talking about spas in Estonia, they are these luxurious, mild interior, music, really nice aromas in it. It's really on the high level. So I suggest you pamper yourself and nose. Long white sandy beaches with shallow waters is also why people come to Pärnu. Perfect for families, perfect for romantic strolls on the beach. The city itself has a really laid-back vibe, and it's perfect to actually bike around in Pärnu. The city center still has a small Hanseatic heritage preserved. Again, tiny, colorful wooden houses, great places to eat, and I truly believe it's just not the stop or a coffee break for lunch when you're traveling from Tallinn to Riga. You have to find more time and spend this time here. And actually, Pärnu is very easily combinable with the island of Kihnu. So if you put those two together, you already have an amazing experience.
Oh, and just an insider tip. I was just in Pärnu this weekend, and this one cocktail place in the sand dunes with soft music and such a great atmosphere. I can only recommend.
Yeah, cocktails here are also truly delicious. But I'm so happy to go to the next theme, and this is, of course, Tallinn. Tallinn is our business card. Tallinn is, I think, the most unique and cozy and fun and delicious. And I have so many adjectives, I don't have enough time to list it. It is truly a place to visit. And I have never met anybody in my life who said they didn't like Tallinn. They always found something special about the city. Medieval, yet modern, industrial, yet hipster, it has stories to tell. Each of us has our own story with Tallinn. But let's hear what is Inger's story. I think she must have made it to the city center by now from the Bog.
And now, as a final stop, I would like you to welcome to my hometown. I am ninth generation of Italianer, so I humbly do hope that I am good enough of an ambassador to this Baltic gem, as we call it, a true window to medieval times. Visitors from all over the world drop by to admire the Gothic spires, fairy tale-like architecture and cobblestone streets. And as a small, almost personal side note here, our cobblestone streets are a perfect training ground for teenage girls, first few times on their high heels. A very well-calculated step must be obtained in order not to wreck your shoes. I've worn through many a times. Once home to wealthy merchants from Germany, Denmark and beyond, Tallinn is enjoyed by visitors and locals alike. And this is the point where I would like to emphasize that us, the town folk, we really do use it on an everyday basis. Whether to commute through the city using the small passages and narrow cobblestone lanes to sip hot chocolate in one of the quaint cafes, have after our drinks with colleagues and friends, or visit the numerous galleries and museums, and not to mention the restaurants, one we've already seen. Unlike many other capitals in Europe, Tallinn has really managed, despite the turmoil of history, to preserve the medieval feel, the Hanseatic origins. And now, as a humble side note, we are now towering over what is called the Garden of the Danish King. And this bastion here is very humbly named after me, the Inger Bastion. Thanks very much.
Kristiina, do you have any places in Tallinn named after you?
No.
Yeah, me neither. Inger, you're lucky.
But Tallinn does not only have medieval history, it also has industrial history. And a very good example here on this slide is Telliskivi Creative City that is located only 10 minutes either walking or by tram from the old town, but has a very different atmosphere to it. And even if you are just searching for something to nibble on from a food truck or even for a nice restaurant, there's a good mixture in this area. And recently it opened also a photography museum, a museum called Fotografiska, right in the middle of the photo here, which boasts many good exhibitions that sometimes even the Tallinners can't get enough of. And Telliskivi was the first city district that came alive after the corona, because as it is an area for mostly younger people, it means that they couldn't stay confined in their homes anymore, and they flocked to this place just to have some open air fun and get together.
Another great area that is also a good example about how a small country can gather itself and develop something which was basically inaccessible by anybody to this amazing area. Noblessner area, or Port of Noblessner in Tallinn. It has been developed so greatly that it has become the most favorite place to spend lunch and dinner and sunset and white nights, actually. You can have your trendy sushi in the restaurant, or you can have your 5-star Michelin experience next door. You can visit great art gallery, or you can come here to Proto and invent or see what the things were invented. Põhjala Beer Brewery is nearby. Seaplane Harbor, biggest maritime museum, is 5 minutes walking. So this is actually a hub where things are always happening. Yes, so keep in mind, Noblessner when you're in Tallinn next time.
Strangely, the word of art museums come up quite often, but it's not our fault, it's the Tallinn's fault. So welcome to the Baroque side of Tallinn. It is called Kadriorg Palace and the park. It is a huge park just near the sea, where newly reopened and redone sea promenade was made, a really nice place to hang out by the sea. But why don't you just take something to have a picnic with, join the locals on the grass, and after you've eaten something, just take in all the art that Kadriorg has to offer, because there are several art museums in this area besides the beautiful park. And the most famous and the biggest one would be Kumu, which also architecturally is a nice site and has been recognized.
I have to say, it's really awesome to see all of you guys here on the screen. It makes it so much easier to tell the story of Estonia when I see your faces, and some of you are smiling and some of you are nodding when they agree to something. So thanks for being with us, and it's truly great. But my favorite place and my favorite time of the year is actually winter time, when my birthday is. But that's not only why. It's because Tallinn has a really magical Christmas market. And the story says that first Christmas tree in Europe has actually been put up on this square, and actually in Estonia. Of course, we do compete a little bit for that with our neighbors, but it's a friendly competition, to say. So Christmas market in the authentic setting of the medieval city. Mulled wine and roasted almonds come in handy when you explore. There is a stage there with Christmas caroling and different performances. You can write your wish and put it on the Christmas tree. And the good thing is that you don't have to come in the busy season of December. You can already visit it starting from mid-November up to first week of January. So please do come and explore it. Last year it was voted one of the best in Europe. We are very proud of it, and of course we agree with that. But actually, I think that Inger has already arrived in the studio, so come join us.
Let us introduce her to you. So we are all part of the B2B team, and you can
jump in.
Yeah.
So as these ladies will mostly come to you when the borders are open, then I am Visit Estonia's new fam trip coordinator. So whenever you come here to visit us, then I'm going to be the first thing at the airport that you see. And at the moment, I'm, as you see, the way from the Bog is so short that I actually managed to change my dress. And absolutely fantastic. So not only today, but during this week and after we've opened our borders, we can already see our lovely neighbors from Latvia and Lithuania, the number plates. I tried to take a picture of it, but no phones and driving. So.
Yeah, a rarity these days. A tourist is a rarity these days.
Yes.
Yeah, but be sure when you're here and you are traveling around Estonia with Inger, she is a knowledge robot. She knows everything about anything, so she will have you covered with the information about Estonia.
But there is a little list.
We are sure that these things will happen to you when you first trip to Estonia. And talking about Christmas market and medieval old town, I guarantee you that one thing will be that Tallinn and Tallinn Old Town will be more breathtaking than on any video, on any photos that you have ever seen in your life. That's a promise.
And certainly, when you say that you are going to travel to Estonia, somebody of your friends will ask, this is a cold country, right? This is somewhere up north. I'm not really sure where it is. But, well, I guess when you show your holiday photos, they will be convinced that they also want to explore. This is something that the neighbor maybe hasn't done yet.
And you will definitely hear this mythical Estonian language, which is actually believed to be the most perfect for singing, hence the biggest folk song collections in the world. But you need to learn 3 words at least. One is tere, it means hello. One is tänan, or aitäh, it means thank you. And of course, the third one is terviseks, and it means cheers, or to your health. So I think with those words, you will be covered on your first trip here.
You're already ahead.
And if you really do want to get ahead with Estonian language while coming here, then you can once again watch Lord of the Rings. Because, you know, the Elvish that they speak in the language is based on Finnish, and Finnish is the closest language to us. So,
Indeed.
Yes.
And you probably also have heard the saying that there is no bad weather, it's only improper clothing. And of course it rings true also in Estonia, because for example, when you get caught in a summer thunderstorm, or you come here in December and the first snow starts to fall, so you will be happy about your waterproof shoes that you brought. So this is also a sure thing.
Yeah, and I think you will definitely realize that whilst being your first trip here, it will definitely not be the one and only or your last trip. You will definitely want to come back and discover new things. And even being tiny in size, we're truly big in what we have to offer to you.
Even if we live here, we haven't covered it all yet.
That's for sure. But you have been listening very patiently and you've been really curious to know more. So we have quite some questions here and we'll be happy to answer them. Kristiina, shall we start?
Yes, so let's see. What languages are widely spoken in Estonia? Widely spoken is a bit an overstatement because it's a very small country and with a very few people. But Estonian language as our own language, then Russian, you can hear a lot of Finnish language on the streets as well. And the rest of it is already a very, very minor thing to mention. So it's still, I would say, Estonian language.
But English is very widely spoken by the locals. So if you need to get around, you need to ask for directions, for advice, for whatever, the majority of people can help you because they do speak English. And English is being taught actually starting from the kindergarten. So don't you worry.
Inger perhaps takes one.
A question, please, can you advise the average summer temperatures? Well, at the moment it's scorching hot outside, so this morning when I went out of the Bogs restaurant and whatnot, then it did feel a little bit like Bangkok, 10 degrees cooler, but it was 22.5 this morning, and we are really waiting for rains, but this is the time of year it normally happens. In July, in recent years, even low 30s, high 20s is normal. And what time does it go dark in summer? It doesn't really. It's a season of insomnia. So at midnight you can easily read a newspaper outside, but not to worry. Our hotels are really well equipped with proper blinders.
And actually there are some companies who offer 24-hour tours in Estonia where you can actually experience different things without even going to sleep.
For the insomniacs of you.
So Leslie, do I see you? Hi Leslie, you asked when does it generally start to snow? Well, being a huge fan of snow, I'm always waiting every morning, late November, waking up and checking. So sometimes it starts snowing November, but lately it's moving closer to December. So yes, I would say December is the sure time to catch some snow.
So I'll have, for example, this one here, the favorite food. May I have the easy question, please?
Go.
So it's any type of white fish that you can take out of the sea and grill it. And the coastal people have lived on fish for centuries. So why shouldn't I be any different, right?
The next question asks, how many days should we plan to stay in Estonia while having 1 week trip in the Baltics? Well, my friend,
the whole of it?
I love my dear neighbors, but I'm pretty sure you will have something to do for a week if you're very active. If you're looking just to browse through and storm through the cities and areas, then still consider 3 nights at least, so you get the feel of the country.
Right, when is the right season for seal spotting? From our webinar themed
cover
picture,
guide.
it seems to me that the seals have come to watch us with this great curiosity, but the summertime and Saaremaa, one of our islands on the west coast, is the perfect place to do that. And there is actually a possibility to go diving with them. And knowing that you do not even need a diving license, there is something that's called a fun dive or introductory dive. So there is a licensed diver that goes underwater with you. So we do have that. Yeah.
I actually have a funny story about seal watching, and that was actually done near the island of Prangli, which is right off the coast of Tallinn. And the tour guide, which was on the boat, said, when we arrived in the place, he said, well, now you have to be quiet. I'm going to turn on the music. So he had the speakers on the boat, and he's turning on the music. And we are all being really skeptical because it's the sea and nobody was in the plain sight. But can you imagine? They're starting to pop up from water one by one, being really curious. Or maybe they like the music, I don't know. But that's how we got them out of the water. And you could also see them close to Tallinn. So if you don't have time to go to Saaremaa, although Saaremaa would be more spectacular, I would say.
So, one right in the middle. How far are hiking trails and wild nature from your capital? So the first hiking trail starts off already 20 minutes away from the center, I would say. Totally good ones, even not too crowded. It was crowded during the Corona times because everybody wanted to get out of the apartment and we were allowed to go to the nature. So the nearest nature was something we used. But of course you can go also deep into the landscape and to the wild animals. But I don't even know how many kilometers total are there hiking trails, but Estonia is so covered with it, so you can't go wrong being in any town. You basically can access them within 15 minutes.
There is actually one which starts in the northern part of Estonia and goes all the way down to Latvian border. And you can hike it on the different landscapes, so to say, do some part of kayaking or horseback riding or whatever. But basically, it is connected throughout the country. And you can find more information on our website, visitestonia.com. And this is actually great place to find inspiration, to find great articles. We really try to keep it short and sweet and exciting for you to get acquainted with Estonia. There is somebody here who is curious about Narva. And Narva is our most eastern city, borders with Russia. And actually it has been also developing itself and booming in the late years. There are so many interesting active activities to take on in Narva. And close to Narva, there are several beautiful hotels, also located on the sandy beach in Narva-Jõesuu. You can spot the Russia from the distance.
There's a medieval castle?
Yes, there is a castle which is actually divided in two parts, one on the Estonian part and one on the Russian part. So sure, and Narva is around 3 hours drive from Tallinn.
As you know so much about Estonia, I'm sure you can have the castle one. The castles in Estonia.
I think that we have the flight question. Famous castles in Estonia. So we have Narva, we have Rakvere Castle, Haapsalu. So they are 15th and 16th century. And Tallinn Castle itself, of course, Kuressaare. Narva, as mentioned.
Alatskivi.
Alatskivi.
Well, we can go on forever.
Why am I handed up with the microphone? Yeah. And we've got many monasteries, and some of them have been just recently renovated. So, and renovated, of course, following the UNESCO guidelines. So you cannot really sense the 2020 over there, but it really.
It's often combined also with a very interactive and modern museums. So it's not only 4 walls of a castle, but it's something to do inside as well.
Yeah.
And one different type of a question is about connections. And will flights from Germany increase in the next month? Air Baltic from Berlin, Lufthansa, Frankfurt. So it's all true that Germany is recovering, at least the connection between them is recovering well, not the easiest way, but I would say the quickest. And indeed, at the moment, the choice is scarce. But with Germany, I think it would be the best bet to have more frequencies added soon.
Mm-hmm. And Karen here asks, how can we get an invite to a fam trip? Well, in the better days, we really organized a lot of fam trips, and when we came to see you and met you at some contact events, we gathered your details. And but now I think we will resume as soon as possible, as soon as connections and everything else allows. We have a special section on our professional part of the website, which is also being developed gradually. So if you go to visitestonia.com, search for the tourism professional, you will see several tabs there, and you can fill out an application for the fam trip. And you can also see the information about the upcoming ones.
Just adding to that, we probably forgot the last slide, which is our contacts. So this is the place to write when you want to come to a fam trip or need any other help with marketing materials or whatsoever. So this is the place to check out. But in the meantime, we still have almost 3 minutes left. We can still have a couple of questions because it seems that they keep on coming.
There is a good one, which is goes a little bit more personal. What is your favorite holiday destinations in Estonia? And this is questions to all of us.
That is an easy one.
Come on.
It's again in the island topic. It's called Vormsi. It has a lot of Swedish heritage, Swedish names, lovely coastline, lovely little fisherman life. Not really that much happening, but still it's, I don't know, lets you breathe somehow. So not too far to go from Tallinn either.
I'm not being very exciting with offering new places. My favorite holiday is Tallinn. Just yesterday, I was strolling on the promenade near the part of Tallinn called Pirita, which has been refurbished, has this amazing wooden area with places to sit. You can dip in the water or just walk in the water if you want. You can have a jog, you can do whatever. But Tallinn is an amazing place for a holiday. Did you know actually that spa culture started in Tallinn, not in our great resort places? So you have everything here, yet you don't have the masses. So I go for Tallinn every time somebody asks that.
Perhaps when we start speaking so highly of it, maybe there will be masses, I don't know.
And you, Inger?
I was just thinking that whether you're going to name one of the really popular islands, because I am myself the smaller island girl, so you're even smaller, but
Even smaller.
yeah, but
Okay.
Hiiumaa, definitely, because we used to spend family holidays there when I was little, so that's why. But Tallinn, yes.
But the thing with islands in Estonia, I think that you just have to try one. You will get hooked. You will want to visit all of them if you can. So our tip, go outside of the cities and try islands.
Meal. We didn't answer the meal question, so what's the
Typical meal. Is there such a thing as a typical meal?
There is, because you know, you cannot throw away the history, right? And we've been so long, I mean, because of this absolutely fantastic geographical location, then German, Swedish cultures. So you can find very German food. Our own food would be any sort of barley porridge, seasonal vegetables.
But it's a big difference between when we were like farm people and had very sturdy meals just to get the work on the fields going versus the ones that at our first republic when we started to be more international and opening up to Europe. So it's a very different era for food as well and food development.
I vote for berries and mushrooms because you cannot find as many different types, I guess, not in many countries, and the dishes you can create out of them, amazing. And we freeze our berries, so in the wintertime I open my fridge and there I have it, this plate full of vitamins and colors and all. But I think now is the time that we finish up.
Wrap it up.
Yes, so once again, I'm Agnia.
Inger?
And Kristiina, and we are also B2B team in Visit Estonia, which has totally actually 30 people, but a tiny fraction of it is standing in front of you, and really hoping that soon we can meet face to face as well.
And you'll find our details on the web, so please write more questions to us, give us a call, and let's keep in touch.
Just to repeat, we also send you the recording and the materials with the slides, so you will be informed in each form, so don't be afraid of that. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Truly, thank you. And see you soon.
See you soon.
Bye, guys.
Bye.